to go to school earlier, parents would be happy कि first standard में admission मिल गया. Everybody is selling. As a salesperson, it is important to note how you can do it. Today, unfortunately, in many places, I see that CRM is not welcome for various reasons. Now, when you look at selling to customers, you look at different product categories. Let's take the case of a toothpaste. Somebody buys a toothpaste every 25 to 40 days. So the window for the salesperson or the company to sell toothpaste is every 25 to 40 days. Now let's go to big ticket items like vehicles, refrigerators. The selling window is basically once in 7 or 8 years. Today, most people change their vehicles in about 7 years. Most people change their refrigerators and OTGs and microwaves in about 7 years. Then you come to building materials, the industry that I belong to. You find that selling is done basically once in a lifetime, right? Now, each industry, I'm sure, has its own peculiarities when it comes to selling during that small window where the consumer can be influenced. What is it that we need to know? What is it that we need to do as salespeople to succeed during that window is what is going to define us and what is going to be discussed today. Things are changing around us continuously. I remember, when we had to go to school earlier, parents would be happy कि first standard में admission मिल गया. Now we see there is a kind of competition to get children into playgroups, and that too high-paying playgroups. Will you be able to sing? Will you be able to dance? Do you have acting classes? Do you have drawing classes? Right? Now there is change happening around you everywhere. We need to be a student. We need to understand change. We need to work around change. Now, how will it affect you as a salesperson? Consumer profiles have changed. An example from the building materials industry. About 15 years ago, the entire house would be painted in ivory or blue or yellow. We would see that there was only one color in the entire house. Today, if you walk into any house, each room has its own personality. This is shown not only in the paint, but also in the furniture. Children have a different design. Elders have a different design. The bread earner in the family has a different design. The kitchen has a different outlook altogether. So basically, even consumers are changing their expectations and designs in their product usage. As a salesperson, we need to be continuously in touch with the market to understand these changes, which is why I tell again and again that we need to be students of the changing landscape in the market. If anybody remembers the Asian Paints advertisement, it said Mera Wala Cream. What they wanted to say was that every room in the house could have a different color. You want pink, you want green, you want blue, you want red, it could be done. Or look at Scooty a few years ago. They came out with an advertisement where there was this young girl wearing a purple color dress and driving a purple color Scooty. The market is getting more and more segmented. We need to understand this as salespeople. Look at Asian Paints as an example once again. If anybody has done their painting, paints like purple, red, orange would cost more. The lighter colors would cost less. JSW recently came out with, understood the problem, and they came out with an offering saying that any color, any paint, one price. They disrupted the market entirely by offering just one price, whatever be the color. Why? The landscape is changing. People are finding that if I have to use Asian paints, my budgets are all right. So they are trying to give one single price for a particular product. Everybody is selling. As a salesperson, it is important to note how you can do it. You can add value, how you can do it differently. I've always been a person who used to listen to my customers, who used to listen to them, and I will not offer them a solution. When I go and meet a customer, I really don't know what he or she is looking for. I spend the first 30, 40 minutes trying to understand their requirement. In fact, sometimes it takes me 4 to 5 meetings to understand their requirement because there's not one decision maker. There are layers of decision making in any organization in some cases. So the idea is to listen both The verbal and the non-verbal cues are being given to you when you're meeting them at these points. Another play of getting adapted is you go and meet a customer, you really don't know anything about him. It's like giving an extempore talk. You pick up cues from his office, right? For example, I met this architect in Guntur. The moment I walked into his office, there were shades of gray everywhere and very basic elements of color, nothing very lavish. So I asked him about his tastes in design, about whether he uses functionality in his furnitures and applications. He probably thought that I knew about what he was doing, and the discussion became more and more interesting. It took me about 3 visits after that to convince him, to convert him. But the moment you hit that small area of relevance where he connects with you, you get his mind. Now, let's say you know the customer well and you're meeting him for the third or the fourth time. In this case, please be prepared when you're meeting the customer. Please research well about his needs, his requirements, and then meet him. We also have seen changes in technology. I would probably start my day in the morning in 1993, sending a telex to my head office, punching in all the orders. Halfway through sending the telex, the connection would drop and I had to start sending my telex all over again. What has happened? Technology has changed. Technology has assisted me in shortening the process of processing the purchase order. Today, unfortunately, in many places, I see that CRM is not welcome for various reasons. But CRM is going to make your life easy. How? It will manage those numbers for you. It will help you enter who's a decision maker and focus on them on a future date. Once you know who's the decision maker, once you know the size of the project, the type of the project, you can custom make or tailor make your product offering to them. This data on your system can also be accessed by your other verticals. Let's say you have a technical team, let's say you have a finance team, you have a marketing team, people at the factory in logistics. Everything is there available in the system. Everybody can access it online and they can give you live decisions or live suggestions on how to go about converting the business. As a salesperson, at the end of the day, your mind will be only on how to generate further business. A few examples. Target UK. Target is like DMart in India. It's a company which is into modern retail in the UK. And there was this girl who was pregnant, but the family didn't know about it. The parents didn't know about it. The immediate family didn't know about it. So what happened is one day, this household received a letter from Target for diapers, coupons for diapers. They didn't know what to do. I mean, the father didn't know what to do, the mother didn't know what to do, the sister didn't know what to do, the brother didn't know what to do. सब एक दूसरे को देख रहे हैं कि भाई pregnant कौन है. Then he got wild. He went to Target and he fired that guy. He said, "I've received this coupon and you've sent it to my house." And that guy said, "Basically, we have an algorithm where we study the purchasing patterns of people. So if somebody is buying during the third trimester a particular item from the shop, it means in another 45 days, they will also start buying diapers." Now, this example is being given over here to tell you that technology is helping us understand buying behavior, understand purchasing patterns. As salespeople, we need to adopt technology. Now, this gentleman went back home and he asked everybody. Then this girl said, "Yes, dad, I'm pregnant." So, this is one use of technology where we find that a company is using purchasing patterns within the mall, within the showroom, to influence future purchasing decisions. In Decathlon, the moment you put your stuff into the bag, it gets billed. Earlier, you had to carry the stuff, go to the counter, and he would scan the codes and then he would bill it to you. Nowadays, they have a RFID in all the four corners. So the moment you drop the stuff, it reads the QR code or the barcode, and the billing takes place automatically. Tesco, South Korea, another amazing example. South Koreans, they are very industrious people and they do not want to waste time. So what happened is Tesco had a platform, a station, where they would say that let us have these photographs of or images of household requirements for people to pick up when they go home. What did they have? Milk, grocery, cool drinks, and small items which would be used in the kitchen. When the person was coming back home at the station, as you can see in this photograph, he would just scan, he would pay. And by the time he reached home, from his station to his home, probably he walked for about 8, 9 minutes, 10 minutes. By the time he walked home, the delivery would have taken. As a sales officer, I was told I had to make 10 calls a day. As an area manager, I was told I should make 8 calls a day. If you have to make a sale, you need an inquiry. If you need an inquiry, you need to have prospects. If you need prospects, you need to have made calls. So 6, 8, 10, 12 are just numbers. The number of calls, the number of inquiries, the number of conversions, the number of orders depends purely on your hunger, depends purely on what you want to achieve or do as a salesperson. Believe me, nobody is going to tell you not to make 20 calls, not to make 30 calls. As you start your career, what happens is you need to focus on sheer numbers. I'm basically talking about youngsters. Probably I'm reminded of the Jack Ma interview where he said that if you're between 20 and 30, don't think, just learn. When you're young, let's say you enter the organization as a sales officer, probably the first 4 or 5 years, meet as many people as possible. In my industry, the building material industry and the plywood trade, we have architects, interior decorators, tailors, carpenters, contractors, modular furniture manufacturers. We have customers, we have corporates, we have government departments. There are so many people who are involved in the industry. I'm sure if somebody is from, if you're from transport, or if you're from pharmaceutical industry, or if you're from paints, each industry has its own set of people who have to be met to generate business. Meet as many people as possible. Do not restrict yourself on the numbers. I find today that people say, I'm a dealer, I'm a channel guy, I'm a project guy, I'm a business development guy. Meet different kinds of people. Don't compartmentalize yourself. The younger you are, the more outgoing you are, you'll get a varied experience. Now, how will this experience help you? You may have met that supplier somewhere. You can connect them together, score a few brownie points. And you don't know. Meet as many different kinds of people from different walks of life related to your industry. If you have an opportunity, do not try to get compartmentalized. Try to work in projects, try to work in retail, try to work in business development, try to work in the furniture, I mean, the modular furniture manufacturing segment. Try to work in as many areas as possible. Now, what will happen as you start your career? Your numbers for meeting people will be very high. As you gain experience, you will invariably use the Pareto, and you will end up saying that, boss, these guys give me business. Let me keep them aside. So you will start meeting quality people. So where you had quantity, you will jump to quality now. This happens over a period of time. This happens by meeting people, by networking and working with them. Now, what happens when Pareto sets in? You have a set amount of business coming in from this 20% of people. Your business is set, it's on course. You have a lot of free time. What do you do in your free time? Start from point one. Start meeting as many people, new people as possible. The higher up the ladder, we start to get this feeling that I'm a manager. I manage people. I should not make cold calls. There's nothing like that. I still consider it a privilege that I'm able to make cold calls. One, it keeps you in touch with your roots, keeps you in touch with your basic selling skills, keeps you in touch. It also tells your people that if you can do it, they damn well do it. You're walking the talk. You're setting an example. So we've gone through from a beginner to probably somebody who's running an organization in sales and marketing. Collaboration and networking is very important today, and this will come only if you meet more and more and more and more people. One of my colleagues came and told me, कि sir, मैं 11 बजे customer को मिलता हूँ और he's not available. So I've started moving out from the house between 11 and 11:30, which means half the day is over. I empathized with him. I understood that he probably did not know how to utilize his time. You look at any person today, have 8 hours a day. My boss has 8 hours a day. People working with me have 8 hours a day. It is entirely in your hands how you want to spend your time. Plan, prepare, and persevere. When I say plan, it is in your hands every Saturday to finalize what you will do for the next 6 days. Every day in the morning to decide what you will do for the day. Every day in the evening to decide what you will do the next day. As salespeople, we have nothing else to do. A target, this is going to be helped achieve by a certain number of people. Who am I going to meet next week? Who am I going to meet tomorrow? Who am I going to meet today to help me achieve that target? Is what we need to do. So plan your day to the T before you move out of your house. If anybody walks out into the field without knowing what he's going to do that day, he is not a salesperson. Customers don't have time. Customers have multiple choices. Some customers have already made up their choices. You need to know what they want. You need to understand in that first, second, third meeting as to what is it he wants. Just to give you an example, when I was in sales in plywood, I would visit sites and find out what is the frame of the door made of. The frame of the door is made out of certain species of timber. Then I would take a small piece, go to my dealer and ask him, sir, ये कौन सा timber है? ये कौन सा timber है? ये कौन सा timber है? What is the price of this timber? What is the price of this timber? What is the price of this timber? There is a species of timber known as teak wood. Teak wood is a very expensive species of timber. If anybody is using teak wood as a framework for his house, it means he's spending a lot. I would position my premium product to him. If somebody was using a lesser timber, or a substitute product for the frame of the door, I would know कि भाई ये he may not be able to pay this price. Let me position my second range or third range to him. There are many ways by which you can prepare yourself when you go to a meeting. This is just one example that has been highlighted. Some of us who've spent time in villages have seen that when you take water from the well, the rim of the well has a small indentation. Over a period of time, the rope leaves a mark over there. As you pull the water, the rope is pulled against the stone and the rope leaves a mark on the stone. This customer is meeting 20 people in a day. There are various competitors who meet him, probably for the same project in a day, in a week, in a month, in a quarter. Some of us might say, I went to him 3 times. He didn't respond. So let me stop. Some of us may say, I met him 4 times. He didn't respond. Let me stop. But that one person who doesn't give up and says, no, I have to meet him every Friday. I will meet him every Friday and I will get my order. He's the person who gets the order. He's like that rope who leaves a mark on the stone, which is used for removing water. I have any number of examples. An architect, it took us 17 visits to convert. Or 17, probably that is the longest I've taken to convert an architect. Very recently, it took me 9 months to 9 or 10 months to convert a customer, a modular furniture manufacturer. If I had given up in the second or the third or the fourth month, this customer today would not have given the order to us. That architect would not have given the order on the 17th visit when we met them. So perseverance is very, 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 very important. So as a salesperson, plan your day, prepare every meeting for your customer. If he's giving you time, please understand his time is very precious. And once you get an opportunity to plan and meet after preparation, do not let go of that meeting halfway. One of my bosses used to ask me, do you know why Edmund Hillary climbed the Mount Everest? There's a very simple, basic answer to this, which says, because they wanted to. They just wanted to do it. So when I go out into the field and I meet a customer, I tell myself, boss, this order is mine. So either till the order gets lost or the order gets converted, I am with that customer holding his hand throughout the journey. So I persevere with the customer till the end of the project. These are a few secrets which have helped me succeed as a salesperson, as an individual, as a salesperson, as Subramaniam, as a salesperson. I would meet people. I would leave the house at around 9:15, 9:30, start working on sites, then start meeting customers, then start going to shops, then start going to the carpenters' houses in the evening because they would come back to their houses in the evening. Sometimes we've even gone to the carpenter's house early in the morning because he would leave his house at around 8:39 in the morning. So before 8:39, you had to meet him. So prospect, search for new customers. As a salesperson, the first secret to your success is prospecting. Now, when your consumer wakes up or when you wake up, first thing you see is your mobile. The second thing you switch on is probably your radio or probably your television. The third thing that you go to is your newspaper. The fourth thing is probably a spouse or a parent or a child comes up to you and talks about what happened the previous day. The fifth thing after all this is, "Arey, aaj office jana hai." After that, what happens is you start getting calls from your customers, you start getting calls from your colleagues, you start getting, so your day is full right from morning till you go to sleep in the evening. This is also happening to your customer. आपके साथ अकेले नहीं हो रहा है. If you think that this is my life, please understand your customer also wakes up at 5:36. He also opens his mobile. He goes to the newspaper. He goes through the television. He has a spouse, parent, or child coming up to him talking to him. He has a vendor talking to him. He has his customers talking to him. Make sure that when you wake up, you make every activity, every task of yours count in the sales process. Most of you know that this is a masterclass on sales. Right? Most of my customers know what I'm selling the moment they see my visiting card or they see the name of my company on my t-shirt or shirt. A few of you must be working for IT companies, pharmaceutical companies, shoe companies, FMCG, white goods. The moment you give your card saying that you're working for XYZ company, they know what you're trying to sell. You really don't have to tell the customer what is it that you're trying to sell all over again. What you have to tell him is why should he be making that purchase from you? How you as a salesperson can make a difference, how you as a salesperson can add value to his selling experience. For example, I sell plywood, right? I go to Ronit's office and I give him my card and say, "Sir, मैं plywood company से आया हूँ." तो रोनित को मालूम है यार फर्नीचर बना रहा हूँ, I need plywood, so this guy is come to sell plywood. So do I have to talk to him about plywood? No. Add value to the discussion. How do you add value? Read, learn, network. Try to understand what he is from his surrounding. Make him feel important. Make sure that in 60 minutes, he speaks for at least 40 minutes. I don't know whether it is by chance or by force that I've never sold on price. Many times I would tell my customers, "Sir, ये price में मैं नहीं दे सकता हूँ." I walk out of orders. I refuse orders on price. You are a wonderful salesman. You have a wonderful product to sell. I'm sure you know all about your product. Talk about its features. Talk about its value proposition. Talk about how different you are from the competition. Do not sell on or compete on price. And let's say if the difference is 5-6% between a competitor and you're expensive by 5 or 6%. Let's say 100 rupees is the price of your competitor and you are 110 or 107. And the customer has decided to buy the product at 100. He has already decided to pay 100 rupees. You only need to convince him why he has to pay you 7 rupees more. I'm sure there must be differences between your product and the competitor's product, which will make it worthwhile for you to explain to the customer why he has to pay you 7 rupees more. We are a cricket loving nation. This data is about 2 months old. 4,644 ODIs have been played till date. Only 40 of them have been won by hitting a six on the last ball. Now, if I'm sure all of you know the percentage, कभी भी आपका target last day में achieve नहीं होता है. You have to be very gifted or your product has to be very much in demand that till the last day you achieved around 30-40% of your target and on the last day you achieve the balance 60-70%. We go back to the earlier slides. We say that boss, plan the month well in advance. Your targets have to be broken down into weeks, into days, if possible, hours of the day and achieved. Last ball sixes is a very rare phenomenon. Our targets are sacrosanct as salespeople. So always have a varying set of plans to achieve your targets. There is a delay in supply. There is an increase in price. There is a problem in quality. There is a variation, let us say, in the color that is being supplied or the specification being supplied. Be upfront. I've learned that if I talk to my consumer about what is bad, customer about what is bad, I basically get him close to me. I tell him, in fact, I'm telling him that this time I may not be able to help you because of this reason. His project does not suffer. His work does not suffer. He will appreciate your honesty for that. Complaints, the bane of all salespeople. We stop attending telephone calls. We says, boss ko leke aata hu. We say, technical team ko bhejta hu. Please do not do that. I actually take a complaint as an opportunity to become closer to the consumer. He's already in trouble. He's already feeling miserable. Now imagine if he has a welcoming ear to listen to his problem, his pain. He's going to remember you. So these few points have helped me succeed as a salesman in the last 30, 35 years. Now, what has it helped build? It has helped me build my reputation for delivering targets consistently. It has helped me build my integrity. It has given a communication to the market that this guy is a go-to guy and this guy is result oriented.